Hey, 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 it is Dr. Unique Simpson, and I am here with the Right Reverend Dr. the Right
There you
Reverend
go. There you
Dr.
go.
Smith in the house.
What's up? Happy New Year. Happy New
Yeah,
Year.
Happy New Year. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Look, we got some snow here in Virginia. It snowed probably about 1 o'clock today.
Ooh,
Estimated to get about 3 inches. So
oh,
I'm sure it'll be no school tomorrow, and I'm snowed in. I'm
oh,
good. I'm good. I got everything I need.
all
Wear
right.
my Superman onesie, and I'm good.
Well, good for you. That sounds nice and cozy. Good for you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is episode one of our joint podcast, which I am so
Yes.
excited about. Are you excited?
Yeah, this is awesome. Look, I've never honestly done anything like this, so I'm excited for that. And then I'm excited just because, God is always doing something amazing.
Right.
And I definitely want to be a part of this. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, yeah. Likewise, likewise. Well, thank you for joining me. Thank you for trusting me and for, partnering with me in this endeavor.
Of
So,
course.
let us first tell the folks what's the name of our podcast, sir. I give you the honors.
All right. We have called this First of All.
Yeah.
And I think you could probably quote the scripture better than I can. Actually, I know you can. But that wisdom is the
Principal thing.
principal thing.
The principal
So
thing. Yes,
wisdom
sir.
first of all. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
wisdom. So that's where the name came from.
Yeah.
And so we just pray that everything that is said on this podcast and is just out of God's wisdom. And
Mm-hmm.
so we can just have organic conversations. We're going to talk about things going on in life, things in news and media, and then see what God has to say about those things. So, yeah, I'm excited. Let's do it.
Good deal. Good deal. So what do we want to talk about first? You said Happy New Year. It is absolutely New Year 2025. What do you think about that? What do you think about the year? Are you expecting anything or
Honestly, for the last several years, I kind of was like, okay, God, just do something good. You know?
right?
Previously, I hear a lot of people making New Year's resolutions and setting goals and things like that. And, years ago, I kind of felt left out because I was never really a person that did, New Year's resolutions. But part of me is like, this is something I should be
Mm-hmm.
doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I kind of made some goals years ago, whether I'm going to go to the gym and work out more, I'm going to eat better, things like that. And then I think we all get excited and motivated
Right.
coming into the new year. And then,
Mm-hmm.
going throughout the month of January. And then we just start to fall off at some point, whether that's in February, sometime in the spring,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it may be. And then next thing we know is like, well, I can't wait to the next year.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to change that though. So I just want to have that kind of conversation on this evening to see what are the thoughts around that and what can we do so that we're not demotivated, so that we're not just doing what other people are doing just because, but we're actually doing something right in the way that God would want us to do it.
Absolutely. I am with you. I don't want to say hate, but I hate New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
I hate it. It all just becomes you know what? I'm not on social media too much, but I used to see these every year, these, I don't know if it was a meme or a drawing or whatever, of like all of the things that, we're leaving behind in the previous year and we're stepping into
Hmm.
this or that. And it's like, and when are we going to wake up and realize we're doing the same thing every year?
Right.
Every single year. It's the same thing. And then, like you said, we're motivated in January, right? So the gyms are making money off of everyone
Of course. Yep.
who has decided they're going to come and they start in January. And then by February, March, like you said, the spring, they fall off. And then now we're waiting, like you said, for a whole nother year. And it's like,
Hmm.
how do we break that cycle?
That's a good question. I guess what is the reason that we making these resolutions?
Mm.
What is the reason that we are setting these goals, and what's so special, for lack of a better
Right.
term, about, the new year, January 1st?
Right.
So why are we not making these goals months ahead of time,
Mhm.
or doing these things, setting the action? It's like
Mhm.
we kind of get to a point, I'm calling the rest of the year a wash, forget it,
Mhm.
it's over. And then as soon as that clock strikes midnight, everything's going to change. It's like the opposite of the pumpkin and Cinderella.
Right.
The carriage turned into a pumpkin. We're waiting for the pumpkin to turn back into a carriage. And it's like, what happens if it doesn't happen?
Right. I think there's something about new, which
Mm-hmm.
in those moments is celebrating the newness, right? It's a new
Mm-hmm.
year, a new opportunity. But the truth is, every day is new.
Exactly.
Every day is new. Every week is new. Every month is new. So why are we waiting until January 1st of the following year?
It's crazy. I think one thing is something tangible, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, and I mean, I do it as well. We're looking for something tangible that we can apply our faith, that we can apply some goal,
Mm-hmm.
um, and kind of like create a new. It's not even a new chapter, almost like a new book
Mm-hmm.
that we
Mm-hmm.
want. And I think we just need to change our mindset. Like I said, it's a new. We even seen the song. It's a new
Mm-hmm.
season,
Mm-hmm.
and we're all excited and happy. But a lot of times, when a clock strikes midnight, when January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, whatever happens, we still got the same circumstances we're dealing with. We still got the same challenges, and we still got the
Mm-hmm.
same job, the same financial thing, status going on,
Yeah.
same people we're dealing with. So I think that's where we hurt ourselves, is that we're
Mm-hmm.
disappointed because something didn't change when we expected it or even wanted it to change. And then we give up, and then we start blaming God, we start blaming, whatever else, and then
Right.
we give up.
Yeah, I was just going to say perhaps the better question is why do we stop?
Mm,
Not, where do resolutions come from, but why is it that we stop? Why or how do we lose the excitement from the new year, the new season, the new day? Why is it that we stop? And for one, we're not consistent. But again, why
yeah.
aren't we consistent? And I believe a huge part of it is we don't like to be uncomfortable.
Mm,
And in order to be consistent, we have to acknowledge what is going to come with it. Meaning, some days we're not going to feel like it.
right.
And I think we fold too quickly. Well, I don't feel like it. So there goes that.
You make a good point, and I think we also put kind of God in this box that we create,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
that everything that happens, everything that comes from God is going to be amazing. It's going to be
Mm-hmm.
wonderful. It's going to be without challenges, without struggle. And then if it is challenging, if it is a struggle,
Mm-hmm.
then it's not God. We weren't supposed to do it, and then
Mm-hmm.
we give up. And
I,
so, no,
I
go
I
ahead.
didn't mean to cut you off. I'm so sorry,
No,
but
no,
I
you're good.
like that. And this could absolutely go into another direction because as a leader, I get so tired of hearing that God is not in it. God did not tell me. I must have heard wrong simply
Mm-hmm.
because it's not pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Where did that come from?
Mm-hmm.
Where did that come from? And so, tying that into the new year, what happens is when we find ourselves in trouble or in dark places or experiencing hard times or the storms of the current year we're in, we somehow think it's the year. I just have to,
Right.
come up out of this year, enter into the new one that will be behind me. But then life happens. It still happens. It doesn't stop. It doesn't care about the date.
Nope.
Life still happens. And as we are growing and evolving in God, there are things that God Himself allows to happen in order for us to grow and evolve. And instead of us taking on the challenge, and embracing what God is doing, that God trusts us to go through things, we then say, throw away the whole year. I'm looking forward to the next one.
Yep. And I think one of the things we have done, kind of going back to what you had said earlier, is that God not being in it. A lot of times we set these goals and resolutions and don't even include God in,
Don't
in
include
what
them.
we want to do. And then
Mm-hmm.
God's like, well, I never even told you to do that anyway. So you put forth all this effort, this money, this time, this whatever to do something that I haven't even told you to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, we start to blame God. And then we take that mentality that, okay, God, I did pray this time. I did
Mm-hmm.
ask you this time. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a struggle and it's hard. And I want to go to the gym, but now I got to pay this membership fee.
Mm-hmm.
My body hurt from doing all these exercises. I don't have the time like I used to in the evenings. But I mean, that's part of what you had asked for, right? Or that's
Mm-hmm.
even part of what, if you and God had that agreement, this is what we're going to do,
Mm-hmm.
then there's going to be some days where you're not going to want to do it. There's going to be some days when you're tired and
Mm-hmm.
frustrated and people getting on your nerves, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
So I think resilience, like you said, is I think we lack that. So
We
any
do.
any sign of struggle,
Any inconvenience,
any
any
inconvenience,
inconvenience, any. It doesn't even have to be big. Any inconvenience. Oh, I
right?
missed my alarm. Must not be meant for me to go. Up, got a flat tire. Must not be
Yep.
meant. It's raining. Up, must not be meant for me. Any inconvenience. I think it speaks to a bigger issue than we're entitled.
Mm.
We're spoiled. Like, why do we think that this walk with God, this journey, will be void of inconveniences?
Wow.
That's the issue.
Yeah. Wow. You got me thinking now.
Yeah, because that's the issue. We don't want to be inconvenienced. So we like the new year,
Hmm.
the fireworks, and okay, I'm going to do this. But the moment inconvenience comes, and so what we measure, the success of a year by is how many inconveniences we had. Oh, it was a good year because we weren't inconvenienced too bad. But then,
Hmm.
man, we're just entitled and spoiled, and it's like, how bad do you want it?
So it can God, or let me not say that. Can Does God, do we have to experience inconveniences with our relationship with God? And now,
Absolutely,
yeah. So
absolutely.
so there are many stories, right, within the Bible itself that
Mm-hmm.
people had to do things that were not very convenient.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
can think of I mean, even Jonah. I mean, that's the one that comes up a lot. And Jonah is like, I don't want to do this. These people don't deserve,
Mm-hmm.
any type of grace or whatever it may be. And
Mm-hmm.
so because of his well, that's another thing. It's just disobedience.
Right.
Is
Disobedience.
Yeah, is another part. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, there's just tons of stories. But if we bring it back to reality, I mean, you and I both can talk about our lives, but things just weren't convenient
Mm-hmm.
when we had to do
The
something.
biggest inconveniences.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we have to pivot. But even, okay, we just came off of the Christmas and the
Hmm.
holiday season. How convenient was it to have a baby in a manger?
Right.
How
Wow.
convenient. How convenient was that? Can we imagine we hear these stories, we read these stories, but or Noah in an ark. We hear
Mhm.
about it, they put it in children's books, but I need someone to give a detailed description of what it smelled like in there,
Right.
what it sounded like in there.
Yeah.
So is it possible that, man of God, I could preach now, because although they were inconvenienced, their life was spared.
Mm.
And although they were inconvenienced, they survived when everyone else was wiped out. The word of God came to pass. He grew in faith.
So even though it was inconvenient, it
Mhm.
was crucial for them to be
Crucial.
obedient.
Yes. Crucial. Crucial. So I think back to, and I know we're going in and out, but even thinking back to modern day. So say you set a resolution to lose weight,
Hmm.
the inconvenience of doing the work that needs to be done and maintaining consistency so that one can lose weight. Truth be told, what people may be able to see on the outside is the weight loss, but the inside
Mm,
is what can't be seen, but there's an increase in divine health and wholeness.
right.
And so the inconvenience is more about the unseen than the seen. Hmm.
Mm. So, what can keep us focused when it's inconvenient? What can keep us motivated? What can keep in the forefront of our mind the end goal
Hmm.
as we're experiencing these inconveniences?
I could be deep and say, just how bad do you want it? And
Hmm.
you gotta write it down. But I would suggest finding a tangible reason to want better for oneself.
Mm.
I was an orphan, so I've never watched the way that someone who wasn't. Maybe if you weren't, you've watched your parents age
Okay.
naturally, right? You've
Right.
watched that process. So my story is not one where I have sat and watched my mother age or my father age and then, grow into old age and their needs change. But I have a cousin who I always tell her the difference between us is that she was raised, which not, I don't want to say the streets raised me, but life raised me. And
Right.
she was raised by her parents. And now we are in our 40s, and I'm watching her now have to go back and care for her parents.
Mm.
So her father is in a home. She has her mother who lives out of state, but there's a lot that falls on her as far as caring for them and seeing after them. Well, for me, that put my health into perspective because although that was not my experience, I'm now mindful of the experience that my own children will have. And because I don't want them to be in their 30s, 40s, 50s, in the prime of their life and having to reach back and see about me, I'm more mindful of my health today. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I think people need to find a reason. I've heard some people who will say, well, I had a baby, or I did this, or I did that. And it gave me more of a reason to be consistent and to care about my health. And so, my suggestion again is that everyone find a reason that is tangible for them to keep going. Because if you have a goal that is bigger than you, then nothing will stop you.
So, do you think as we are entered into this new year, people who are high on emotion, do
Hmm.
you think it's advan- I can't say the word advantageous? I'm a Smith,
Hmm.
but not a wordsmith.
Advantageous.
There you go.
Uh-huh,
There you go. Thank you.
uh-huh. Okay.
If it's that to set these goals and resolutions when we have that emotional high, am I making sense?
No, you're making perfect sense. No,
Okay.
it's not advantageous, but I think we have to keep living to find out that it's not.
Mm. Do you think it's dangerous?
It can be if we're not real with ourselves.
Yeah.
There's danger in that. There's always danger in that.
Yeah.
When people aren't always honest, but it may or may not create harm. But when you're not honest with yourself, that's when there's harm.
I agree. And I think one of the things I found for myself is that, I mean, I used to have these grandiose, so, okay, God, this year, this, and this is going to happen. I need you to do this.
Hmm.
And then when one of those things, or a couple of those things, or all of those things didn't happen, then I got into this almost depressive state.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So what I had to do is kind of just pace myself. It's
Mhm.
like, God, this it would be nice, if this
Mhm.
happened. It would be nice if that happened. But if it didn't, I'm not gonna, say, oh, woe is me, or I hate this year, or
Mhm.
I'm giving up on everything else, and God, you're never there for me, whatever it may be.
Mhm.
So I think we had to be real with ourselves and real with God and say, God, this is what I want, and
Right.
and if it doesn't happen, then I'm not going to be upset with you. It'd be great if it did. I think just
Mhm.
having those real conversations with God and letting them know, how you feel about things,
Mhm.
um, and this, not setting. I don't want to say setting your stuff too high because we should have high hopes. We should have,
Right.
expect God to do the unexpected.
Mhm.
Um,
You said that you said high hopes. I was just sitting here thinking, I guess, to even going back to why is it that we do this? And I think with a new year comes hope. And so with hope comes the idea that I can do it this year. I can achieve or accomplish this year what I was unable to do last year because of X, Y, and Z. So January 1st, it's renewed hope. And
mm,
then when life happens, the hope is what dies. And there's the disappointment from that.
yeah.
Again, there's the, any inconvenience thing. But I think what we don't realize or what we don't tackle too much is the fact that when life happens, hope dies.
Mm,
And that's what kills our hope. Depending on where you live in the world, the sun is shining. It's a new year. It's a new
right.
opportunity. You're getting older. Maybe some people have plans. We're going to do this. I'm going to prepare for this. This year, I'm going to be better. Last year, I felt defeated. And now my hope is renewed until something comes along and kills it.
Mm,
Hmm. So I don't know, how do we overcome that? That I think not just we, but people, how do we overcome, life is going to happen, but we can't stop living. I saw something not too long ago where someone said that someone said to them to live, even if you're anxious, go outside, even if you're fearful, live. Like in whatever state you're in, make sure that you live because you might experience something new that you find your healing in. Too many of us, we talk about mental health and people are
mm,
anxious and people worry and people stress, but all of those things come to paralyze us and keep us from living. Think if Christ says, I come that you might have life and have life abundantly, the enemy doesn't care that we are functioning. And so many people are functioning only. He cares, or his goal is to keep us from living abundantly. And
mm,
so anxiety and stress and everything else, those things come and they seemingly paralyze us. I've experienced times in my life where I couldn't get out the bed. I just didn't feel like it. And I had to learn that, oh no, I'm going to feel this, but this doesn't have to keep me from living.
right. And I
Mm.
think that's important that we have to make a choice,
Yes.
because it's not denying the fact that you're hurting. It's not
Mm-hmm.
denying the fact that something happened, whether it's a death in the family or you lost your job or, trouble at home with the kids or the spouse or whatever it may be. It's not denying those things happen and that they hurt. It's
Right.
choosing to decide that this will not keep me down.
Absolutely. We,
I,
we'll, we can no longer be controlled by him.
Exactly. And so
Mm-hmm.
I heard one person say, have your moment, like take 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
If it's
Mm-hmm.
3 minutes, have your moment to cry, to complain, to whatever it is. And then, pick yourself up and say, okay, let's move forward.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of something I've been doing. I was like, I have my moments where I was like, but those moments should only just be moments.
Mm-hmm.
It
Right.
shouldn't be the months and years and whatever it
Mm-hmm.
may be. I know some things are more impactful than others.
Mm-hmm.
But it, we have to maintain that focus and that faith. Is like God, in spite of what's going on around me, and I think that's where that hope comes in.
Right.
Because there are people, as citizens of the kingdom,
Hmm.
we should act a lot differently than other people.
We should,
You
but
know,
we
there should,
don't.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
We
We don't.
should. Hmm.
And I think that's probably because there's a lot of stuff that we take in. We're on social media,
Hmm.
watching movies and music and all these things, and so we're feeding that part of us
Hmm.
more than we're feeding that spiritual part.
Hmm.
Or we're not praying, we're not staying in the Word, we're not communing with God, we're not worshiping, we're not doing all those things that we know to do
Hmm.
because this is really not anything new, honestly.
No, it's
But
not.
what are we doing first thing in the morning? We're picking up our phone, scrolling through social media, we're watching the
Hmm.
news all day, and I mean those things. There are great things from social media, great things from the news that we can take and
Right.
whatever,
But
because it's important to know.
but we consume. We
Yes, yes.
consume it. We consume it. And also, largely, we are misled. I think, and this may be a lesson that we teach on later, but when we come to know God, when we accept Christ as our personal Savior, and we now profess salvation, I believe when we hear the scripture, we are in the world, but not of the world. Our thought is that because we now walk with God, He will rescue us from everything.
Hmm.
And we find ourselves panicking just like the world, sliding down the wall, throwing up when trouble comes because we have the wrong idea of what the walk will look like. So, again, going back to being inconvenienced in any way, we are naive to think that surely He's God. And because I now know Him, life is going to be easy. And it's just not so.
No, it's not. And I think also that we, like you said, we expect God to come to our rescue
Hmm.
every single time. And I
Hmm.
believe there are times where God is just, look, I've already told you what to do.
Hmm.
You don't need another confirming word. You don't need me to come down and let the trees wave and rocks
Hmm.
do all these other things. It's like you're in the situation. I think about the conversations I have with my kids.
Hmm.
And I can't be with you 24/7. When you're at school, I can't be there and say, "Hey, make this decision. This is how you need to respond in this situation. This is how you need to react to the teacher."
Right.
Because one, I've already told you how to do
Hmm.
it.
Hmm.
And so I think about the verse where it says, train up your child in the way that they should go, that when they get old, they should not depart from it.
Hmm.
Are we not children of God?
Right.
Haven't we been trained
Hmm.
in a lot of ways of what we should do, how we should respond in
Hmm.
certain situations? But we always kind of expect God, hey, I need you to speak for me. I need you to do this. I need you to slay this giant for me. When God's like, you slay the giant.
Absolutely. I've said that before, that coming into this journey, my walk, I never doubted God. I never doubted that God could do
Hmm.
anything. And I thought that's what faith was, right? Or I thought that that was the limit to my faith, that I believe I stand firm in God can do anything. And I thought that was good enough. And my journey has taught me that God, it's as if He's like, okay, daughter, I know you believe me, you know that I can,
All right.
but now I have to show you that you can too. I have
Mm.
to show you that you're strong. I have to show you what you're capable of, because if we are to represent Him in the earth without being aware of our own power, what good is it? If we're simply walking the earth, when you think about it, Jesus not only walked the earth in His ministry, all He talked about was God and the kingdom of God, but He demonstrated power.
All
And
right.
so what we miss is that God needs us to demonstrate power. So some of what most of what, if not all of what he takes us through is to make us aware of our own power, our own strength. Yes, we rely completely on him, but if I go with I'm going where God sends me and I have all of heaven backing me, that's
Right.
good. And I'm confident in God, that's good. But Unique has to be confident to walk in the door. There has to be
Right.
some level of confidence in me, in myself. And when I look back over my life, the times where it was like, well, why am I going through this? Well, why this and why this and why this and now why this? But now the woman that I am today, that people see today, is only because of the things that I've gone through in my past where God was building me up, molding me and shaping me, and I didn't know it. It's like it does God no good, really, for us to simply acknowledge his greatness and not ever tap into our own. We are never truly representing him if we don't.
Wow. Hey, you got me thinking again. No, I'm thinking about this podcast, for instance.
Uh-huh.
We were kind of joking, like I think we just took a step of faith and just being
Right,
obedient.
right,
It's like
right.
we don't know what's going to come from this completely.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
I have no idea. But if we just step out, have that confidence just to come on here and and
Right.
and, and do it.
Yeah. God does the rest.
Yeah.
God does the rest. And when I think I shared with you all at some point, all the while I thought God was just, or I thought when God called me, I thought I had to memorize the scripture.
Mm,
I needed to know the scriptures
right.
backwards and forwards. I got my bachelor's in Bible and theology. I need a master's of divinity, and God had me to get a master's in business. He told me to get a doctorate in leadership. What? But no, I surely you need me to be proficient in theology. And again, I was just so sorely mistaken. He was building me up. He said, I need you, the woman, the daughter, to be built up. Yes, I'm going to have my way, but if you don't have the confidence and the boldness needed, you'll never walk in the door.
Mm,
Once we walk in the door, then he can have his way. But it takes everything in me just to get to the door,
right.
just to walk in the door and then let him have his way. So yeah, we have to do our part, but God builds us up too. So
Hmm.
back to what you said, if he rescued us every single time, when would we ever know our strength?
Wow.
How would we ever know who we are? I think
Right.
I said one time before, we often pray, God, please don't let me fall off the cliff. Please, please don't let me fall off the cliff. If you are God, and we quoting his scriptures and, circling the wall 7 times, and God,
Hmm.
don't let me fall off the cliff. And I said, I've learned that God says, okay, now when you fall off the cliff, you're going to realize that you didn't die.
Yep. Did you die? No.
Yeah, you didn't die, and I'm still God, and you still love me, you're still with me, you're still obedient. So sometimes he lets us fall off the cliff just to show us you will fall sometimes, but you
Hmm.
won't die, and the fall itself is good for you.
And
But
I
we don't
think
like that.
no, I think that's where the fear is. We're so afraid of falling. We're so afraid of failing,
Hmm.
um, that we get to the point where we're not even trying.
Right, oh, right.
We don't
That's it.
move. We get stuck. So
Hmm.
we talk ourselves out of, and I think that kind of goes back to the resolution. We're all
Yeah.
motivated. I remember, look, I'll talk about myself for a second.
Hmm.
So I got all excited, to work out. And this wasn't my New Year's resolution. This was maybe sometime throughout the year. I bought me some new walking shoes or cross training shoes.
Hmm.
I got my little gym gear. I bought these home weights because I wasn't going to the gym. I was going to do it at home. So
Hmm.
got my exercise ball. I bought these expensive weights. Got me some headbands. Got me a water bottle, protein shake. Oh, I got everything. I was ready. I
Hmm.
woke up one morning. I got dressed. Got everything set up. Had my little program ready to go, and I sat in my chair and just, I just sat there. Like, you know what? I don't feel like it. It's like
Yeah.
this is 90-day program. I probably ain't gonna really finish it anyway. Let me just and wait till the next year, next month, whatever.
Yeah.
And
To
so I
start fresh.
yeah, because I taught myself out because I was fearful. It's like, well, one is like, is this really going to work? Because I'm watching all these other people who have done it, and I see the
Uh-huh.
results, how whether true they are or not.
Right.
But they worked out. Hey, look, I got these shredded abs. I got this. I got all this energy. I was like, okay, okay. But this is me we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah,
My
yeah.
body a little bit different. My eating habits a little bit different.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so I was like, I taught myself. I was like, there's no way. I couldn't even keep up with the people on the program. I
Uh-huh.
was like, they on to the next exercise, and I was like, hold up, I had to pause it. I was like, let me do my 10 reps. Let me get these in. The program that should have took 30 minutes, taking me an hour and a half.
Uh-huh.
And so I was like, this ain't working. This ain't for me. And it kind of goes back to the resilience I was talking about. That it's not
Yeah.
always going to be easy. In our mind, we have how it's supposed to be.
Right.
It's supposed to be easy. It's supposed to be smooth. I'm supposed to get it right away.
Mm-hmm.
And it don't always happen that way.
But you know what else? You bring up such a great point because how many people go buy a whole bunch of stuff and don't even touch it?
Oh
Let's
wow.
talk about that. Let's talk about that because you psyched yourself out to where
Yeah.
if I buy this stuff, so how much money do we waste? We need
Yeah.
to talk about that. And how can we change that? I think one of the things that I've thought about, I go to the gym, I work out, and I want some new clothes or some new whatever. And I've
Hmm.
decided that that will be my reward. I'm fine with what I have, but then before I buy something new, I have to do something to earn it
Mm.
instead of just I'm excited because that's what we do. We say, boy, the enemy tricks us, boy. We buy all this stuff. No, I'm gonna do it this time. No, I'm gonna do it this time for real. If I just buy it, then I'm gonna do it. And we just psych ourselves out. We just tell ourselves so many lies and try every trick in the book to again psych ourselves out to do it. Like you did all of that, got up, got dressed just to go to the workout room at home
And sit.
and sit.
Yeah. Yeah. I watched the video though. I watched them do it. I just didn't participate. I didn't. No, I didn't do it. But
It's all right. You're not
yeah.
alone.
No,
We
but the thing is though, I was even thinking about a couple of months ago. I was like, if I would have did it when I was motivated to do it, when I and had all the stuff ready, I wouldn't be looking at myself as like, wish I would have did it,
right,
then. I'll be where I want to be, where I need to be
right,
if I had done it when I was supposed to do it.
right. What about this? You ever I think back to times when I was younger. I was younger and I could move more.
Hmm.
I wasn't so tired. I wasn't so burnt out so fast, but I wasn't consistent. And now that I am consistent, I can't move like I used to. My breathing isn't, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh
Hmm.
my goodness, I don't have the endurance that I used to have. And so even like for some if a young person is listening to us, take advantage of your youth while you can because we will waste our youth. We waste it doing things that we have no business doing. We'll waste it when I had the opportunity, when doing the Stairmaster didn't take, 2 minutes in, I'm like dying. And
Right.
there was a time I could get on it and go 40 minutes. You know, I remember being younger and people saying, okay, you're not going to always be young.
Right.
Young people just think they're so invincible. And I can't judge them because I did. You just
Hmm.
don't see getting old. Like, yeah, so like you just don't think that your bones will ever ache. You don't think that you'll one day go to decide to be consistent and you can't move like you used to. And
Yeah.
now you're kicking yourself because you realize all of the years, all of the time that you
Wasted.
wasted.
Hmm.
Yeah, wasted.
And I
Mm.
think I think about like I play saxophone, so I've been playing saxophone since fifth grade.
Oh,
So that's been
wow.
a few years ago.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Um,
Just a few.
yeah, just a few.
Uh-huh.
So I played all the way through elementary, well, fifth grade, all the way through middle school, all the way through high school. I was in the marching band in high school, and then I got to college and I played, and then I stopped. And
Mm.
so now, I mean, I've always loved music, always, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
live music, listen to something on the radio, I don't have to play. I want to hear other people, but I love playing with
Mm-hmm.
other people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But now it's like I'm really excited. So I want to join a band and go do shows and gigs and things like that. And
Yeah.
I was like, all the years that I wasted not practicing,
Yeah.
you know, I was like, if I did what I was supposed to do, like in my teens and early 20s, I could probably have a CD out there and things like
Mm-hmm.
that, and just playing it and enjoying it. And now I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm okay. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not being humble. I mean, I'm okay. I can flow sometimes in there, but I'm not a soloist. So that's the thing. It's like I could be able to play these songs here and there, play like David played on a harp or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, but I didn't practice. And honestly, to this day, I don't practice like I should. But
Mm-hmm.
now I got all these other responsibilities as well that I don't have
Right.
the time like I used to.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wasted all those years, and then I'm seeing people on YouTube and TikTok and whatever else. I was like, that could have been me at 10 years old and 15 years old and 20 years old, being just
Yeah.
as good as them. So yeah, it could be a slap in the face, a
It
really
can.
wake up call. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
and so now I'm at a point where I'm trying to motivate other people.
Right.
I missed my opportunity to an
Mm-hmm.
extent. So now
Right.
let me try to get my kids. Let me try to get somebody else. Let me try to, so they don't make the mistake that I did.
Exactly. No, we're never too old to start or to be successful. Oh, but that doesn't mean that we don't have time that we wasted. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
that, like you said, we could be great by now
Hmm.
had we just listened. If we go back to New Year's and the resolutions and the danger, and in essence, what we're saying is the danger in that is that we waste time. We
Yeah.
waste time. I have this resolution, and then, okay, now I'm inconvenienced, and now I'm going to wait for a whole nother year.
Hmm.
Next year, I'll do it. When you're young, or even just when you're in it, you do not realize how time is passing by. And time is the currency that we cannot get back. We have no control over
Right.
it. We can't get it back. We can never get back the time that we just spent talking on this podcast. We can't get it back. And even when God Himself will say, I'm going to redeem the time for you. Right. And that sounds so good. You've lost, or the enemy, someone will
Hmm.
come preach and the enemy stole this, and oh, but you're going to get double and da da. And the Lord gave me a revelation one time. He said, I'm going to redeem some time for you. And I'm like, okay, praise God. And you know what He said to me? That means you have to work twice as hard.
Wow.
Huh? What you mean? I'm going to redeem the time. But now, because you're behind the eight ball, you have to work twice as hard.
Hmm.
Oh, so it all requires work. We have to be willing to do the work. I'm on this thing about giving ourselves permission, and not just to be powerful and or to achieve the goals that we've set for ourselves and to live the lives that God intends for us. With that permission, we must realize that we're going to be uncomfortable. We're not going to always feel like it. Not everyone's going to be on board. We won't always receive, if ever, sometimes receive validation. And we just have to we just have to go, because those things, I'm uncomfortable, so I stop. No one high fived me or liked or followed, or they
Mm.
didn't give me validation. Maybe this isn't the thing. We have to give ourselves permission to just keep going.
Right.
Keep going. Stop wasting time and keep going. I can't get back years, but I can take control of today.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So going back to what we were saying at the top, is that we don't have to wait to January 1st to
Right.
decide, okay, this is gonna be my year.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna be my season. This is gonna be it all I believe starts with in our mind. We have to
Right.
make that choice that say, regardless if it's January 1st or July 30th or whatever it may
Mm-hmm.
be, that I'm gonna make a conscious decision and take the appropriate action
Mm-hmm.
to do something. It's not even always better, something different.
Different. Right. And with different comes better.
Yes, there we go.
So, yeah, we're waiting for January 1st to reset.
Hmm.
And we need to know that it doesn't have to be January 1st to reset. We
Right.
can reset at any, not just the next day. But sometimes you ever start off your morning wrong?
Oh
Sometimes I
yeah.
find myself saying, okay, wait a minute, stop everything, hold the phone. I need to reset. I didn't start off my day properly. And now I'm thrown off. Or, people come, you working and here come people. And then you have to stop and walk away from your desk, walk away from your computer, walk away from the kids, walk away from the
Hmm.
house. Sometimes I just have to get in my car and just drive because I need to mentally reset. And that's okay. We need to know that we can reset at any time, any time of the day, any time of the week, any time of the month, any time of the year. Just simply reset.
That's good. And I think that's important. Another thing I was thinking about was that we have those moments where we're like, this sucks, you know?
Yeah.
Like this
Yeah.
this day ain't going right.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody acting up. I'm just not in the mood. And
Mm-hmm.
so we need to be okay with one recognizing, because sometimes we like to deny. We like to say,
Right.
okay, everything's okay. I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of my
Mm-hmm.
favorite terms. I'm
Mm-hmm.
good.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes my I'm good is not that I'm good,
Right.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that you need to confess it to everybody, or
Absolutely.
but within yourself to know I'm not good right now.
Right.
Or I'm getting agitated very easily, or whatever it may be. And so I need that time to reset.
Right.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think that's important. That's good.
Yeah, we have to give it to ourselves. Being emotionally aware.
Yeah.
I am emotionally aware of myself to the point where I know enough to stop and pause. And if I'm agitated or whatever it is, I will stop to figure out what is this? What
Hmm.
happened? Where did it stem from? It's also important because, especially when you have children or you have people, you're working with people, whatever. I I know when I was younger and my children were younger and I was a young mother and not a very mature mother, there were times I would be irritated with my children. And the truth was, they didn't do anything wrong. Or whatever they did, it was just kids being
Minor,
kids.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. And now I'm self aware enough to pause, figure out the root of my attitude or mood and move forward accordingly. Or sometimes have to say to those around me, I'm not in the best of moods. You
Hmm.
did nothing wrong. I want you to
Hmm.
know you did nothing wrong, but I just need a moment. And
Yeah.
that's maturity for me because I used to hide. I don't want to be bothered. I'm just going to hide everything. And now, yeah, I don't have to tell you what's wrong, but
Right.
just to simply say, yeah, it's not a good day. I need a moment.
Hmm. Wow, that's good. I think a
Mm,
lot of people can hopefully get some good nuggets from the conversation we're having here.
I do too.
And one of the things I was thinking about, and I apologize to everyone listening for all over the place. We started talking about New Year's and
I
everything else,
know.
but I
They'll
think
get it. They'll get it.
it all ties in.
Yeah,
It all
it does.
ties
It
in.
does.
It does. It's like, don't be afraid of the work,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I mean we look at the work as being the inconvenience a lot of times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't
Um,
want to do the work.
yeah, like I said, we want it easy. It's like, so when I was going to gym, I had to get up at 6 in the morning.
Mm.
Oh, actually, earlier than that, I had to be at the gym at 6 because I had to be at work at 8. But I was going to play basketball, which was, cardio, and I was
Mm-hmm.
actually keeping me in shape and keeping my heart rate up and things like that. So I was doing that like 3 times a week, getting up at 6 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I wasn't the best basketball player. I mean, I could dunk on everybody if I wanted to in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But on the actual court, I couldn't do it. Um, but I enjoyed it. When I got there, I enjoyed it. The work,
Yeah.
the motivation of getting there, maybe I was a little more motivated to
Yeah.
get there, but then coming home, it's like, man, then I gotta go to work. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe I should just stop playing basketball in the mornings.
Yeah.
But I had to do what was necessary for me,
Mm.
because it was a lot of games we lost, and a lot of games we lost because of me. I threw
Right.
a pass to the wrong person, or I missed a shot, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, turnover, something like that. And so I still continued though to push through, because I knew, one, it was helping me physically.
Mhm.
It was also a outlet for me,
Mhm.
dealing with the stresses of life, just going
Mhm.
out and just doing something, physical, was
Right.
important. So even though it was an inconvenience for me, or because I love my sleep,
Mhm. Mhm.
so it'd been nice to sleep in for a couple hours
Yeah.
and then get up and then tackle my day instead of getting up and going to play basketball. I had to come home and shower and change clothes and get ready for work and whatever, all this other stuff. So, but it was work. I couldn't look at the work as the inconvenience.
Right. Yeah, work. That's good because we have to change how we view work. Work
Yeah.
doesn't have to be an inconvenience. We want the reward
Hmm.
without the work, but the work is necessary for the reward.
Yeah.
Hmm, that's good. Yeah, we have to put the work in. That's why I say, how bad do we want it? Realizing we have to work for it, and it's not going to happen overnight. I blame the inventor of the microwave because now we have air fryers, pressure cookers, and I'm old
Hmm.
school where you put it in the crock pot, let it slow cook for 10 hours. We don't have to do that anymore. The first time I put a roast in the pressure cooker and it was falling apart after an hour, I was blown. What you mean?
Right, right. I got another 3 hours I'm supposed to be cooking this
Yeah.
thing for.
What you mean? So, yeah, we're spoiled and
Yeah.
technology, all these new inventions just spoil us even more. And so we expect for God, don't you see the times? We don't have to wait that long anymore,
Hmm.
And he's like, that's y'all. That's y'all. Even with that, right? With the microwave and everything else, all this stuff now, if we're not careful, they say it breeds cancer.
Mm.
So what works fast isn't always good for us.
Right. What is convenient? It's not
Yeah.
always. Yeah.
Yeah, convenience is not good for you. It might be good to you in the moment, but it's not good for you. So we have to work, we have to grind.
And I think we have a greater appreciation when we do work and grind of the reward. Because if it was just given to us, it'd be like here, without the
Yeah.
work, without the challenges and the inconveniences,
Mm-hmm.
then we become more spoiled. We become more
Mm-hmm.
entitled.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do thank God. I mean, there are times God does do that, here. And it was like, wow,
Yeah.
like we hit the lottery. All we had to do was play
Yeah.
some numbers and we
Yeah.
got the lottery. But there's times we got to go to work and do that 9 to 5 or whatever it may be,
Mm-hmm.
to get that paycheck. And so I think there's a greater appreciation, for the work that we've done, a great appreciation for God
Mm-hmm.
when He was with us through every
Mm-hmm.
step of the way,
Right.
even though at times we may not have felt Him around,
Right.
but He was there. And so it was like, just thanking God, God, thank you for getting me through this storm. Thank you for helping me to accomplish this goal. Thank you for just, gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Another holiday, Thanksgiving. We have a attitude of gratitude during
Mm-hmm.
November,
Mm-hmm.
and then going into Christmas, and then as the new year hits and things don't go our way, then the
Yeah.
gratitude is gone. As well, I got Thanksgiving 2025 coming up. I'll show my gratitude then.
Man, that'll preach right there, sir. Man, so we lose our gratitude. That's it. There's so
Yeah.
much. There's actually so much. We lose hope. We lose gratitude. And
Yeah.
then not just grateful, learning to appreciate the work, but we also appreciate the reward more.
Yeah.
When think about a child, a 16-year-old or 18, whatever, they graduate, and as a gift they get a car, and then they crash it, or they don't keep it clean, or they don't this, or they don't. But then when they have to work for their car,
Right.
when they find out it's not so easy to get it, there's a different level of appreciation.
Hmm.
And so we're the same way. I always say God is the ultimate. I learned parenting from him.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
From him, he's the ultimate parent.
Yeah. He's pretty good at it.
Yeah, he's pretty all right.
Yeah. I learned a lot of things from him.
Yeah, 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 me too. I said, wow, God, you're pretty smart. You know what
Yeah.
you're doing.
I was like, I
Look
wouldn't have
at
thought
you.
about that.
I
Right.
know, right?
I wouldn't have done it that way, but
You know what, God,
yeah.
you all right with me. You know more than I thought. You know what I'm saying? Because I know I'm not the only one who sometimes like, God, you sure you know what you're doing? Like, are you
Uh-huh.
sure? Because this just don't make sense to me.
Right. If it was me, I would have did it this way.
I would have did it this, and
Right.
I wouldn't have had me go through all of this either.
Exactly. I wouldn't have to suffer so much, you know?
Yeah, like I'm ashamed to say it, but I mean, you know what, God, you smart,
Yeah,
you
you
wise for real.
yeah, yeah.
It's all right. He knows our heart. He
Those are
knows our
hard.
heart.
That's for sure.
He knows our heart. Well, I think this was a great first conversation introduction to
First of all, yes.
first of all, God is wise. He is
Hmm.
smart. He does know what he is doing. And I guess my first of all would be um to find newness in every day, every moment. Don't wait until the first of the year. First of all, who told you you had to wait until January 1st, whatever, whatever, to reset, to be great, to achieve, to go after your goals? First of all, who said that? And I said that, not THAT, but dat, DAT. Who said that? Because that makes no sense. So that's my first of all. What's your first of all, sir?
Man, I think of the song, I'm going churchy, oh Hymnal Baptist Church.
Hmm.
The song, the verse says, "What needless pain we bear, all because we did not take it to
Take it
God
to
in
God in
prayer."
prayer.
And
Yeah.
it's the needless pain. There's some pain,
Yeah.
necessary, but it's the
Right.
needless pain. So what are we enduring that we didn't take to talk to God? What are we suffering? What pain are we enduring because we didn't talk to God?
Right. So
You know what?
I'm sorry to cut you off. Your first
No,
of
no,
all
you're good.
is first of all, did you go to God? That's your
First of
first
all,
of all.
did you go to God? First,
Did you
that's
go
it.
to God?
Did you
That's
go to
it.
God first of all?
Yeah, that's it.
So, I
That's
mean,
it.
let's take into account just our resolutions, our goals, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Did you go to God first of all?
Did you go to God? Did God tell you that?
Hmm.
Was he in agreement? No. So yeah. This is good. Again,
Yeah.
I appreciate and I pray that our listeners appreciate just good organic conversation.
Yeah, I don't know how often we would do this, but we're going to do it pretty often, I guess. So,
Yeah, we figuring that out. We
yeah, we're
figuring that
working on
out.
it. We're working on it, but it'll be posted on various social media platforms.
Yes, it will. You will be able to hear us on, we're gonna put this on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts. What did I say? Did I say YouTube? Spotify.
Spotify, yeah.
Spotify.
Yeah,
I guess
I'm not Apple. I'm anti-Apple, so I'll be on Spotify.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to talk about that. First of
Yep.
all,
Yep.
did you? No, I'm just playing.
Mm. the the forbidden fruit phone. But that's a oh yeah, that's another conversation.
That's another conversation. So, hey, feel free. Again, I am your very own Apostle Dr. Unique Simpson. I'm here with the Right Reverend Pastor Smith.
Lord.
Shout out to his lovely wife and his beautiful children.
Children.
And children, his beautiful wife Shantae, will have to have her on
Oh, definitely. Should be
as a
excited.
guest. Yes, but I'm excited. I'm excited. I tell y'all what, I tell y'all the secret. We were guests on a radio show, and I don't know. I just think we was feeling ourselves a little bit and felt like we should let y'all hear us talk more often.
Yeah, and you know what? This is good.
Yeah.
I'm excited what God is doing. Shout out to DJ Nasty from the from the radio show. I mean, a great great guy, great guy. And just just creating opportunities.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
I mean, that's his
We just
name.
want to
That's his
shout you
name.
out.
That's his name. Well, look, we need to have him on here.
We
Let's see if we can
do.
talk.
We absolutely do.
Look, hey, the door open. God allowed us to walk in it. So,
Absolutely.
oh,
Absolutely. So it has been a pleasure. I'm excited.
yes,
I'm excited about this conversation. Excited. For what for all I'm trying to figure out how to say this properly. I think I said it in my head, and then when it got ready to come out, it didn't sound grammatically correct. But
hmm,
I am excited for what all God is going to do. That
there you go. That sound good. That did. You done did good.
okay, all right, good deal. Well, all righty. Until next time, whenever that will be, we'll let y'all know. We'll be back sooner than later. We do promise that. But until next time, um, I'm inclined, sir, to tell people to submit to us some ideas, some
Oh yeah,
topics,
yeah, that'd be great.
some things they want to hear. They want to hear first of all. You know what I'm saying? They heard this and they heard that, but what do we have to say about it? Because,
Yeah. And
yeah,
again, there's things going on all throughout the world and the news, whatever. So we want to be able to talk about these topics and see what God has to say and allow God to speak through us. And so whatever you guys got, let us know. It could be about, relationships, could be about
yeah,
um just anything. Um,
anything,
stuff
anything.
going on in the Bible, whatever questions there. But
Yeah,
we just want to hear what God has to say about it. And so
that's it.
that's what we're looking forward to.
That's it. Absolutely. So, again, thank you so very much for tuning in, for listening to us, for indulging us in this way. We thank God for you. Again, my brother, I thank God for you. And I'm excited for what God has in store for us here. So,
Yes, thank God for you too. So until next
absolutely.
time,
Until next time,
peace.
peace.